Well, we offloaded some cargo back there, and that's why we are now heading to one of my least favorite levels in the game, in the darkest parts of the galaxy. In this,
It's also,
part of
as
the
we mentioned,
sector.
we may have mentioned earlier, this is pretty much the point where we more or less fulfilled our quota of Disney-centric worlds, and now we're going straight back into Square territory, for better or worse.
Pretty much, which is also why we're going to be a little more lax in the sense of like, no one's going to really be missing much on like the Disney content except for one side character in this next one.
I mean, in all out fairness, though, this is technically where the plot does pick up again.
No, which is fine. It's a little a little odd, a little heavy for me.
Oh boy.
But we have Jordy back with us.
Oh, don't mind me, I'm a stowaway.
Wait, what?
Fine. Gui and Celia are taking a little bit of a breather because Gui was having separation anxiety from the horse.
From the horse.
The horse.
And so, when we go down here, welcome to my least favorite level in the game with my unironically most favorite song in the game.
Hollow Bastion.
Also, do you mind if I ask real quick, what did you say, Jordan? I didn't quite hear that.
I said I'm a stowaway, don't mind me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I forgot if you were with us the last time we were in the
That's
game
what
or
we
not.
used to be.
Yeah, it was right up there.
Yeah.
And we know this place somehow, even though we've never been here. Also, fun fact, when I was a kid playing this game, I had no idea what a bastion was. All I could think about when I got to this point was bastion, like Sebastian. And all I could think of,
inside Sebastian's inside story.
I mean, I'll be fair in that when I first heard the name Hollow Bastion, it did honestly make me think, that sounds like something I've heard in a Disney movie before, but no, this is completely original.
yeah, definitely not. It's not based off any other properties.
I mean, honestly, when you look at the castle out of the distance, it honestly does kind of look like its own unique take on, like, say, Beauty's Castle.
It does, yeah.
No, I could see that, and I think they did a really solid job of like, at least with Hollow Bastion. End of the World's its own, can of worms. But I feel like with Hollow Bastion, I think they did a really solid job of like taking what you would expect to be a villain's like big lair from a Square Enix game, but giving it like a little bit of a whimsical like flair to it, a la Disney.
Right.
Yeah.
Like with all the pipes jetting out of everywhere, and that seems to be the best I can. Let's unequip that to put on Breaking Glass. This is going to be a very combat heavy area. It's the Hollow Bastion has been. Hollow Bastion is tedious because it introduces a few mechanics as well as a curveball plot that's about to happen out of nowhere that is immediately resolved as quickly as it's introduced, and then beyond that, it is just a onslaught of you trying to climb this large tower up to the villain's base.
And
I
from
mean,
the jump cut...
this is very much the
platforming.
this is essentially the second to last level in the game. So it would make sense that they pretty much throw in all the big guns around here.
More or less.
Yep.
More or less. Jordan, do you have any feelings one way or the other about Hollow Bastion?
It's definitely a lot darker. It's one of the more darker levels than I would expect out of this game. But I am going to agree with you that I love the music from this level specifically. And I'm gonna be blunt. I feel like the first version of the battle stage, which we'll probably hear momentarily, is the better version than what we had later on.
Into?
Like in the final mixes?
Yeah, like
No, I
I'm
think she
not
means
gonna
like in game-
disregard. I'm not gonna disregard the later version from the future games. I prefer this one.
I will definitely say, like, looking back on it, a beast. And Riku?
Oh, what are you two chaps up to in this neck of the woods?
I simply believed nothing more to it.
And I did look into it. This guy is practically James Woods with how much he enjoys voicing Beast. He's voiced Beast in all sorts of things.
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that, like, he probably does like the character, but I'm not quite sure if it's a matter of passion, because Beast doesn't really have as many talking appearances as Hades does.
Here I am.
But I mean, like, I'm just saying, like, as far as the movie, like, he has been...
I will have her back.
Take her if you can.
I'm just saying, like, yeah, he has been Beast in every single iteration that they need him to be in. And then, talking...
I mean, you could argue it's pretty much his big claim to fame, and that's more or less all he's got.
Yeah, as far as Disney goes, also...
Oh my god!
Oh, he didn't. Oh, there it goes.
Ouch.
There he goes. He's dead. Maybe.
So,
That's animal cruelty. How dare you?
About time.
I mean,
Go ahead.
I'll be completely real here, though. The more I stop to think about it, I kind of wish Kingdom Hearts did more of this. Like, if not just, us being in, Disney-centric worlds, but maybe have unique worlds where the Disney characters can be a part of and yet still fit in somehow. Because we've already brought up the whole, Beauty Castle comparisons before, because, this is where, the characters from Beauty and the Beast will appear.
What's going on?
Yeah.
Hey, Mike.
Wait a minute.
Riku is getting more control to keep it. Oh, but it doesn't look as cool when you hold it.
Wait a minute. That wasn't the key you were holding. Where'd you hide it, you faker?
It's up to me.
Also, wait.
Only the Keyblade Master can open the secret door and change the world.
Oh wait, hang on. There's another line up to this. Like, these interactions between him and Riku are a little
You were just the delivery boy.
eh.
Sorry.
You little red delivery boy.
Here, go play hero with this.
I'm surprised he's
Oh,
all
you're gonna
held
give
on
us
to
a-
that thing.
A janky sword? Come
You
on.
did care.
And then
Also,
there's this.
I understand. I understand that was their task, but just remember this for later. Like, Donald has just like full on, just seemingly with no regrets, like just completely just abandoned everything.
I mean,
Although,
to be fair though, as far as
No.
I mean, it goes without saying though, like it's been kind of obvious throughout the course of the game that Donald was primarily, sticking around with Sora as a means to an end, and that's no less true here. But you can also tell that, he started to grow a little attached to him, but at the same time, there's still the mission.
yeah.
Although, and then you got Goofy, who, I mean, he'll still do it anyway, but you can definitely tell he's got more stakes in the, between all this and besides the mission.
You come here.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
mean,
and
it'll be more obvious the further we go into it, but for now, we at least have another ally in the form of Beast.
which is very helpful because of two things. One, I remember now that dialogue a bit. He says there can't be two Keyblade Masters. I'm just like, no one tell him.
Well, this
one
is the first game in the series. They don't know yet.
Yeah.
So the other reason why we're definitely gonna need Beast is, this little dinky sword is not gonna do anything to any Heartless. However, Beast's claws can still work perfectly fine to destroy Heartless for us.
Beast's
So-
claws are miniature keyblades.
Yeah, so we at least have some sort of buffer.
Yep. And don't mind me. I'm just a normal human boy who can fly. And can,
Boy,
and
it's
can
like-
still cast.
it's like-
I can still cast fireballs.
It's like,
'cause I'm a normal boy now.
castle filled with animated household furniture. You don't faze me.
Well, I'm just saying, like, to
Yeah.
Riku, where Riku's like, I'm just saying, like, to Riku's like, man, you're nothing anymore without the Keyblade. Oh, don't mind me while I fly.
I was about to say, you're nothing but the Keyblade. Bitch, I can fly.
I can shoot lightning bolts, anyway.
I mean, actually, yeah, don't you still have access to your magic?
Yep, and that's why between Beast and my magic, that's gonna be the primary way we're gonna be dealing with Heartless.
I mean, when you really stop and think about it, all you really... the only thing real negative is that you can't rely too much on melee weapons. So essentially, like, all that happened is that you lost your beaten stick.
I like how you just teleport
Pretty
onto
much.
the bridges, onto the elevators when they show up. Like, you don't even bother walking to them. It's like, yep.
It's very energy efficient. So yeah, as far as, and don't worry, we will not have to, and even with this debuff, like, it's not even like a debuff we have to deal with for too long. We only have to deal with, like, a required, like, maybe 2 or 3 enemies. However, I realize I have to kill these new Heartless, these Dark Balls.
Yeah, those
they're
guys.
They're kind of creepy.
Dark.
Yeah, we'll just burn them. Because I'm completely defenseless. Perfect.
Oh.
Anyway.
Sorry, I thought Beast was a Heartless and he just appeared out of nowhere.
I mean, actually, it's funny you bring that up, because I think that was partially the point why the Beast was here in the first place, because apparently Maleficent had it was either Maleficent, what am I saying? It is totally fucking Maleficent, but she
Yeah,
had
that's
plans to
probably.
make Beast into a Heartless.
But his
Yeah, that's
but
right.
his heart was too strong, so he couldn't fully convert.
Which is why he ended up following her all the way here to try and find Belle. Which this is where all the princess. This is I mean, if we haven't already mentioned, this is where the villains have been having their little council meetings every time. We've
Oh,
been
and also, in
seeing
case
that
it
little
wasn't really
colorway.
double damn obvious, Belle is also one of the princesses that they need.
But not Ariel, because Maleficent could not be asked to find a fish tank that big.
Yeah.
Explain Ursula, then.
Shit. How the hell do they
Well,
get
to be fair,
Ursula in
Ursula has like 8 legs. Ariel only has the one, so she'd just be flopping around like the fish, half fish that she is.
Right, and there's that ending sequence on the not pirate ship, the ship itself, where they prove that yes, Ursula can breathe air, and I don't believe Ariel can. Actually,
Yeah.
no, Ariel can breathe air too. No, actually.
I
don't
think
know.
Ariel is
Stop
kind of like, she can be able to survive on air, but not for too long. It's kind of like how alligators, they can survive underwater for only like a few hours.
Right.
Only a few hours.
They're technically
that's fair.
technically still mammals.
So, okay, right. So as far as what we're doing here, is our main objective is we need to just unlock the front door, which unfortunately requires us going into this little puzzle area. They're unfortunately not as bad as the freaking whatever the trials were called in Final Fantasy X, which I hated, going into each and every one of them in every temple. But we just have to find the switch, open the front door, and then we'll get our full move set and everything back again.
Actually,
So-
it's funny because I think before Kingdom Hearts, the last big project they did was Final Fantasy X.
Which I do still like that game.
Oop.
I will never do it for the channel because I know exactly what kind of time commitment that would be. But it is probably one of my favorites. Thank you, Beast.
I mean,
It
could you
is
say that about any Final Fantasy game, to be fair?
Yeah, I mean, Final Fantasy 1, I could probably cut around a lot of. Final Fantasy, 4 gets pretty long too.
Well, I know Matt did say if there was any game that we should do for the channel, like if at all, is Final Fantasy VII, namely the original.
Not the remake?
Well, the remake isn't. Well, to be fair, the remake is only like one. It only covers like 1/4 of the entire game's plot.
Oh, that is true. That is true. But yeah, I don't know. You do have a point there. All in all,
And Matt has gone on record saying that Final Fantasy VII is a beast.
he's getting his cardio in. Don't mind him.
But yeah, the original Final Fantasy VII is like one of the shorter games in the entire franchise.
I never knew that. Yeah. Wow. Okay.
I mean, I guess it also depends on how like if you know what you're doing.
That is fair. I know they have some fun side quests and stuff, and I'm going to try and
Never forget the one time where you see Red 13 trying to disguise himself as a sailor.
I don't
Somehow.
I don't get how it works, but it's one of my favorite little bits. So, there's the switch, and we'll just hurry. Yeah, no, my freaking 7-year-old, 8-year-old brain when this came out was just like Hollow Bastion, like Sebastian, and all I could think about at that point was I should have known.
Sebastian's inside story.
No, not Sebastian. I'm just saying like this. He owns this place. It was him all along. It was always him.
Well, Eddie, you found me out.
And then I remember as a kid I actually started piecing together this whole freaking mythos as to how it makes sense. So it all started with what we thought was a harmless little gag when Genie and Aladdin was trying to look through the cookbook of things. By the way, that was just me backtracking because I'm not going to show you all that. You run back here because the door's now open and huzzah, we move forward. But it's like when Genie pulls Sebastian out of that cookbook, at that single moment the timelines crossed and Sebastian crossed between worlds and his mind was enlightened as to I don't know. Then just
and I know what some of you are wondering. And I know what some of you are wondering right now. Wouldn't it have been so cool, taking the sequels out of the entire equation? Back when this was the only game in the franchise, wouldn't you have loved to see where go to the other worlds that the other princesses are found in?
Yeah, like Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty,
Snow White.
Oh, also at the same time, I'm wondering if Maleficent's just thinking to herself, going "Hell, I should have just forget the bed. I should have put Aurora in the cryostasis chamber." Prince Charming wouldn't have been able to kiss his way out of that one.
Yeah, seriously.
Not unless he just desperately tries to break the glass.
Break the glass, just. Anywho, so we make it down to our lobby area. Nice architecture. What's up, Beast?
Be on your guard. They're close. I can feel it. Are you ready for them?
Yep. But cue Beast falling for the oldest trick in the book. 3, 2, 1.
Oh.
It's your shadow.
Oh, he
Okay.
mad. He gets mad at that taunting tease, and he's locked out of the fight.
Damn it.
Aw, dang it.
Of
Curse
course
you,
we'd fall for
beast,
the
in,
trap.
curse you, beast, in your Hulk mentality.
Also, what the heck were you three doing this whole time?
I like to
Following him.
imagine. I like to imagine that entire time Donald and Goofy are like, no. Are we there yet? No.
Really?
So yeah, enter Riku's dark mode.
And enter Goofy's speed mode, where he just flies across the room.
You'd betray your king?
Not on your life.
Fair.
But I'm not gonna betray Sora either, because he's become one of my best buddies after all we did.
Aw,
Oh.
Goofy.
And
bad.
besides, he pays me my money.
I'm still waiting on that half a bean. Anyway, Donald will join us too, because it was very short. It was a short-lived-ish betrayal thingy.
I mean, again, it was all a matter of following who has the key. But at the end of the day, it's like, who needs to follow the key when you fucking follow your heart?
Donald, Goofy,
Yeah.
How will you fight without a weapon?
I know now I don't need the Keyblade. I've got
Bullshit.
a weapon.
I've got a better weapon. My friends grabs Donald by the neck. Just
And look, he even
beats him
finds it funny.
Do for you.
Actually, I was thinking it's like, I have a better weapon. My heart, which is of course what I call my minigun.
My heart and my
I've
spirit,
become
which I
part of
call
their
my
hearts just as
fists.
they become a part of mine. And if they think
It's
of me
easy
now and
enough.
then,
I don't
if
know.
they don't forget me, then our hearts will be one.
Yeah, oh, by the way, for anyone wondering, with Hollow Bastion stuff, get ready for a lot of, like, the more
So
convoluted of... Yeah, the more convoluted and cringy of dialogue exchanges between hearts are good, lights are good, darkness is bad.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
again, this is-
repetitive.
I mean, this is before. Again, this is like before they started going way too complicated with that whole, like, the whole how that all works out.
Right, which they'll try. Oh, by the way, I also love the bit where he's like, the darkness can swallow up my body, but it won't swallow up my heart. Nobody's disproved that. But again, this is the first game. They had no idea where this was all going.
Yeah, and I guess that is pretty much the big sin of it all, is the fact that, there was never any real plan to really follow this game through after, like, the first one. I mean, even, heck, I mean, granted, the whole ending sequence we'll get later on in the game, like, does allude to the fact that they were, like, all, we could probably go anywhere from here. And boy, do they go places.
Yeah,
Right,
for better
it's-
or worse.
There are parts where I wonder if they should have got Disney writers with that more, but...
I don't think that would have helped much.
No.
Well,
yeah.
well, I guess it's just a matter. Would you say they would have made it worse?
It's tricky to link everything together, but yeah, as you saw there, Riku is just, with all your powers and, having a full team again, it's just keep the pressure on him and you're fine. And just with that, ladies and gentlemen, and impressionable children, with the power of friendship and violence, we have solved our problems.
For now.
Oh, thank God, that suit was really starting to chafe.
And now Riku's upset.
I'll believe you, Beef. If you follow this franchise long enough, that won't be the last time we'll see him in that tattered little hula skirt.
Yeah, he's like, so your heart won this battle. Yep, and this big stick I carry with me.
I just love. I was also thinking Beast is coming in.
What did I miss?
Everything
Bye,
and
Goofy.
nothing.
Traded one K9 man for another.
Well, goodbye, Goofy's like, but I just... This old guy just had a character arc.
Would you say that's K9 now?
half a bead!
Never. So, I'm gonna hang out on the beast for just a little
hungry.
bit longer, just to give him some inclusion because he deserves some screen time. So, yeah, from this point forward, now we begin the grand climb up to Hollow Bastion, which
Oh,
first
the
requires us to
library.
find 4 pieces of an emblem to open the door forward. And I don't know, the pacing of the game, it doesn't tank, but it definitely starts to slow up a bit here. So don't mind me as I use a lot of editing to try and hopefully
Make it
remove the
seamless.
padding.
It's fine.
Yes. Also, look, that's where Kyrie's grandmother once sat.
Oh.
So, yep, Kyrie came from Hollow Bastion. Da-da-da-dun.
Da-ba-ba.
Dun-dun-dun-dun.
Not only that, considering the fact that this... I guess, if it was no doubt obvious, she used to live in the castle itself. So for all we know, maybe she used to be a
Oops.
princess.
Let's try that again.
That
I
would
forgot if
make
they actually... I forget if they actually do outright state that she was pretty much part of royalty for Hollow Bastion at one point. It's not like they ever allude to that ever again. But
well, I mean, like, I feel like
they say half of that statement. They say that she's a princess, but they never mention specifically of where. But I mean, it doesn't take much to connect the dots and figure out where. But and later games confirm it. But so yeah, that's the start of Hollow Bastion, which is fortunately the slowest it's gonna get. So join us in the next part where I will pretty much get close to finishing up the rest of this place. Like it really is a nice linear shoot to the finish. Hopefully.
Woohoo! Till next time, everybody.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.